Hey. It's Saturday, 4 p.m., and we are back here for another edition of Soulful Saturday Conversations. And like every week, I am always excited about, hey, Mama Vena, coming on, about being here with the guest of the day. Jay, hey.
How are
Hey,
you? Can
I am well. How are you?
I am well, thank you.
Getting adapted to the orientation of the
Other nice.
learning, and I thank you so much just for sharing the gems you have, just learning the ways and the ways to navigate this whole camera angle situation and the lighting and all that, right? So So I'm getting better. How are you? Welcome, welcome. So good to have you here, V. I appreciate you joining me. I was just letting everyone know we're here for another edition of our Lord, I'm still back in September. Soulful Saturday Conversations,
Or you're
right?
forward in September. You're forward in September when we're all seeing each other in person.
This is true because I'm gonna tell you what, I am definitely planning, God willing, and all goes well. I am definitely planning to open, September, open my space up again for another series in September. So hopefully, we will be able to do that. I'm very, very much looking forward to that. This conversation series is a result of that happened in the fall. So just want to let people know, if this is your first time here, welcome. And this is Saturday Soulful Conversations, where we dive in for a bit with what I like to call an uncut gem in my personal community. I feel so blessed to have been connected with and affiliated with just some beyond outstanding, amazing women, men in my community. You're one of them. You're whom I call, and it's so interesting, uncut gems, right? You are like a gemologist extraordinaire.
No, 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 no. But thank you. Thank you.
Yes, so this is, I affectionately call her Mama V. We are mamas, so this is Mama V because my children have called her Mama V. So this, I call her Mama V too. So Mama V, I'm going to let you just tell everyone who you are, what you'd love for us to know about you, what you got going on in your life, and yeah, just share about you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. I am reminded that your children first attempted to call me Miss Vena. Do you remember
And you were like, no.
that? That's reminiscent of Miss Jane Pittman. Thank you.
I will never ever forget that, and I appreciate that. Okay.
I was like, oh, we're gonna have to find a more youthful term. So I just felt like my voice should start shaking. But I and love Cicely Tyson. I just didn't want to be, referred to as the character. But
Yes.
so who am I? I am Vena. Ironically, my middle name is Ruby, and Crichlow. I was named after my paternal grandmother and great grandmother, who both were from the island of Barbados. My grandmother's name was Ruby. My great grandmother's name was Elvina. And I am thankful my father named me Vena as opposed to Elvina. Um, I I do many things. One of the things that brings me the greatest joy is making jewelry. And
Mm-hmm.
I have been doing that since I relocated from Brooklyn to Atlanta in
Mm-hmm.
1992. And I use healing crystals. I was thinking this morning how I started getting into healing crystals. Do you remember the Garment District in New York, like in the
Of
third?
course. 34th Street. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
30 to like 39th was the
Yeah.
Garment District. I
Yeah.
worked as a temp job at Reader's Digest, which was on Madison and like 40th, or Park and 40th. And I used to walk in the Garment District and look at fabrics because I love textiles. But I would
Mm-hmm.
always see these bead stores. So I went in the bead stores, never bought anything, just, window shopping, killing time. Right before I left to move to Atlanta, a sister friend of mine who was then dating a brother who was a silversmith said, come with me to pick up some findings for him. And
Mm.
I just bought all this stuff, didn't know what I was going to do with it, and started making jewelry. One of the things I bought was amethyst, because amethyst was my birthstone and it's what I knew, right? And so I bought amethyst, I bought some ear wires, and I moved to Atlanta. I was not working. I was 20 something. This is BC, before children. And I started making jewelry. And
Mm.
at the time was in African, deep in the African dance community, and started selling the jewelry after dance class. And so the first crystal I really knew about, learned about, was hematite. There was a brother that used to make these beads for me, and he made bracelets with hematite. And he told me about the properties of hematite. And you know, back then it wasn't an internet, it wasn't none of that. We was just,
Yeah.
you would
Yeah.
learn from the elders, you were learning from the African traders who came through and sold stuff. So that is how I started using crystals and
Mhm.
making jewelry with crystals. It was in the 90s. And even prior to that, I had gone to Egypt, to Kemet, with Dr. Ben in 1990 or 91, 91, no, 90, 1990. And there was a sister on that trip who had yoni eggs. And she had a look, I didn't know anything. So, you know, back then I was 20, so I'm like, oh, she weird. But she had crystals everywhere. Yeah, yeah, now I'm her. But she had crystals everywhere. And it was really, really interesting to hear her talk about it. I wasn't as curious then as I was later in life, but I still remember that encounter. And remembering just, you know, people plant seeds, right? You get little seeds along the way, little pieces.
That
So,
is so let me just say, there's just so much I just want to stop. What I heard you say, first of all, 1990 was 30 years ago, and I know that because I had a child born in 1990. So like, wow. Okay, so that you've been on that path for many, many years. That's beautiful. But I heard you say you're great. Now, you know what? As many conversations as we've had, and let me just say, we've known each other since I've been here in the Atlanta area about 15, 16 years, because I remember meeting you when I first moved here. But how about, I never realized that your grandmother's, my maternal grandmother's name is Ruby. My
wow.
mother's my mother's mother. And then you said your great grandmother. I just want you to hear this connection because this is really blowing my mind. You said her name was Elmira. My
Elvine, Elvine.
Elvina. Okay, my great grandmother's name was Elvira,
Wow.
right? So even a deeper connection here on a soul level, like, ooh, okay, mind blown. Let me just come down from that. So, like, wow. We are just, I mean, we jokingly say, there's 6 degrees of separation, but we have we have less than that. I believe that there are less than 6 degrees of separation. That's just been my experience. So I just felt I had to share that with you. So yoni eggs, right? So for people who don't know what yoni eggs are, I happen to know what they are, but just give us a little bit about that. And then also, because you have been working in this space for so long, and it started out as, you just discovered it, found it, you was curious about it, somehow you naturally gravitated toward that path. But just I would really love it if you share more about how specifically crystals, right, the energy of crystals or the crystal healing has been instrumental and significant in your life. Maybe you can share a personal story or stories. I know, just around your children and how you've raised them, and just how crystals have such a direct relationship with who you are right now.
Sure. So, yoni eggs. Yoni eggs are egg shaped crystals that actually women can use to tone their uterine walls, their vaginal walls, excuse me. And so we do Kegels, right? We do exercises that you can, yeah, you
Yeah.
contract and release, and that allows your vaginal walls to be toned and the vibration to move up to your uterus, right? And to help tone your reproductive area. As if we choose to have children, as we have children, that muscle gets weaker. And for someone that can result in urinary incontinence. If in severe cases, women can have prolapsed uteruses. And so the yoni egg helps to tone that muscle, right? So you can do Kegels. It also releases the energy, the healing energy of the crystal into that area, which is very powerful. Yoni eggs oftentimes are rose quartz because a lot of times we have a lot of healing to do around our self-worth, around our vagina, right? Around love, around our perceptions of that. And then also jade, which is green, which is associated with healing, right? Also, our heart chakra corresponds to the color green. And
Yeah.
that's yoni eggs. They're egg shaped. They come in different sizes, and you can order them off Etsy. If anybody orders them, they should definitely make sure they get a certificate of authenticity with it. But very powerful. You insert them, and some of them have strings that you can pull out, like a tampon, if you will. Others just, you put in and you take out. You must be careful if you are pushing, right? You can push that yoni egg into the toilet. I've had that happen, and you just flush it down the toilet at that point. So that's what yoni eggs are. Crystals are stones. So let me, over here in this is my office meditation space. So these are Crichlow, and they're rough stones. They're just,
Yeah.
you see, they're not tumbled,
Yeah.
they're not smooth. I think when I opened up this package, I actually got cut by one because they're so rough. And so
Wow.
those crystals are rocks, right? From the earth. They come from the earth. They are mined from the earth. This is Amazonite, right? Different properties, but Amazonite also is something that is, and these are the rough forms. When they are polished, when they are, they look like this.
Yes.
Right.
And that's what we typically see in stores. Yeah, when you go into different crystal healing places, sometimes bookstores and places that carry crystals. Yeah, they look very polished and very sleek and soft and shiny.
So they're actually tumbled in a machine, and it takes off so this turns into this.
Wow. And so is that the same stone?
No, it's not. This is Crichlow. So I don't have, let me think. Girl, I got crystals all over the place, right?
I know. Crichlow.
Yeah, Crichlow. So
I like that.
here it is. Okay. So this is Amazonite, rough Amazonite, and this is a polished Amazonite. This is a polished.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you have difference. The color can change a little bit. Clean, and then when you tumble these, they get a little cleaner. Cleaner.
Yeah.
So you asked me about the way I use them.
Yes.
So I use, this is malachite. I have, because I am more mature, right? So I sometimes have joint issues. I will tie malachite around my knee in particular. So I will take a strip of t-shirt, right? Like I have an old t-shirt I cut strips off of, and I just wrap it around my knee on the sides where it may pain me, and I go to sleep. And in the morning, the crystal has pulled, right, that inflammation, that hard, that stiffness out. What I ask, because these are just rocks until you tell it what to do. And because it is green and it corresponds with healing, right? Green is a color we associate with renewal, with springtime, with healing, with life. I ask it, please help my need to heal. I am charging you, right? Because our words, our voices carry a vibration. And so I'm charging it with my voice, with my vibration, and asking it to do what it is I'd like it to do. It's like when you get some money and you're like, I need some more of this, right? I mean, we do that. That is our energy. It's what we do.
I love it.
When you start talking to rocks, people think it's a little different, but it's the same energy.
Oh, I love it, B. That is so cool. My mom actually, she keeps them in her bed, right? Her crystals. I mean, I know people, My mom has also been, studying
Oh,
and
girl,
love.
you're wonderful. You know, that's one of my favorite elders.
Yeah, she's pretty much like a,
Well
yeah.
immersed. She been in this for a long time. Like she not new to this. She true to this. It's like
And it's so interesting because my mom, she doesn't even realize how powerful she is in terms of like her knowledge base and what she has done amassed in terms of her awareness in terms of this space of wellness. Of course, I always tell her, listen, I'm just an expression of you, just further manifested right in this in another generation. I'm not even in this. I'm from another generation. I'm from past. At this point now, I have to say I'm from the prior. Like I love how you said, now that I'm more mature, right? Yeah, I'm from a more mature generation, but even we take from our elders, as you say, and then carry us forward. Now tell us, I know personally, but I want you to share how you are using your crystals in your work. You've developed this beautiful offering that you offer now to the community, to women, and you're having something coming up soon. So if you would share about your offering, Waste Beads and Wine.
sure, sure.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming to the very first Waste Beads and Wine a few
Yeah.
years ago when we could be together and I would host them in my house.
Yeah.
Um, so as I said, I've been working with crystals for decades, and one of the things that I love to do is to share the information. One of the ways that you and I always connect is through sharing information. And
Yes.
so one of the events that I do is called Waste Beads and Wine. It is an event where women are invited to participate in making their very own waist bead. And so their waist bead is fortified with their energy. It is a virtual event. I send out, I curate a kit for them. So the kit includes an affirmation card. It includes a small wine glass that says Waste Beads and Wine on it. It also includes everything women need to make a waist bead. And they can choose from a number of intentions. There's I am love. I am a money magnet. I am vibing higher. I am healthy and whole. And then this go round, I'm doing one that combines all of those intentions called I Am Every Woman. So they can choose from one of 5 intentions. They can also order an additional waist bead kit if they'd like to do that. And in that time we're together, so we start out talking about crystals and chakras, and it's a very short introduction because I could talk about crystals for like days on end,
Yeah.
but a short introduction, and then the women go into breakout sessions with other women that have the same intention. Prior to coming to Waste Beads and Wine, they receive affirmations that I've developed and encouraged to use their own in fortifying their waist bead. So they're speaking, right? And they're talking and they're healing and releasing as they're making their waist bead. And we're just bonding because it is coronavirus, right? And so we're not connecting with people in the same way. And
Right.
so it allows women that space to do that. So it has been very well received prior to COVID, and definitely since COVID has started a couple weeks ago was the first virtual one. And
Mhm.
I think it was, people seem to have had a really good time. So,
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah.
So the next
Yes.
coming up is March 21st. It's from 1 to 4. And
Uh-huh.
you can search me on Eventbrite or Instagram. I am Ifetayo, Ifetayo Artwear. And I would love for people to join.
Yes. Okay. So we've got some wonderful women in here. Hi, Anna. I see you. I see Jerry and Jaleesa and Renee and several others in here. And I just want to say welcome and thank you for joining. So, in case you missed that, Vena here, my mama V, I call her, is hosting Waist Beads and Wine. Tell us again. It's March. What's the date? 21st.
First,
Yes. 1 to 4.
for
Yes.
so other piece with Waste Beads and Wine is that they are always near or around a new moon or a full moon.
That's what I was going to ask you
Yeah.
because again, and as you know this, I also follow moon cycles, and I know it's part of just about crystals and just knowing that the energy of the moon charges our crystals.
Mhm.
So when the full moon is present, like I know Thursday, for those who are listening, Thursday, January 28th, coming up is going to be a full moon. So if you have crystals, that would be the time to place your crystals out, even outside if you
Mhm.
can, or in a window that has direct interaction with the full moon to charge them. But the 21st, so tell us, which moon will we be in then, March 21st?
Full moon, and it is the vernal equinox also. So
Ooh,
also, yeah, the beginning of spring. It is when
yeah,
things really start popping, right? Like stuff starts coming up out the ground, and it's
yeah.
Pico and I both plant, we farm, so it is, we get all excited.
I can't believe you're saying those words. We farm.
I know, girl, we from Brooklyn, we farm.
Right. Well, I've learned to say I'm a concrete queen with a country heart. That's
Okay,
it.
okay,
Right. Because I
that
got
works.
that. Yes, because
That works.
I'm from so there's a poem, I don't know if you're familiar with, but I will share with you and anyone. There's a poem called Where I'm From, and we use it's a woman a black woman who wrote this book. Her name is Michelle Johnson, and I would encourage anyone to get it. I actually use it in my yoga teacher trainings. But it's helpful because one of the first practices is getting into this poem, which is a very famous poem. The woman who wrote the book did not write the poem, but this poem is Georgia Lyons wrote this poem called Where I'm From. And so when I went through the exercise of writing Where I'm From, that's how I came to the concrete queen country heart, because I'm from Double Dutch and Jacks and handball courts and Skelly and Mississippi summers and watermelon fields and all that, Grandma Ruby. Those are right. So each of those things informs where we're from. So I definitely, yes, Anna, Skill in Action. That's exactly right. Michelle Johnson, Skill in Action. Love that book. It is a gem. So if you're just a little gem, as we drop in gems in here with the gem in the community. So give us, Vena. This is wonderful. So March 21st. And can you believe that spring is like right in our faces here? Like that's
Girl,
no time to
yeah,
wait.
we looking at our dirt like, what didn't we do? But it's so, I was just thinking when I came back from my walk, I walked past my garden and was like, I really need to get out here and pull this winter stuff. But
Yeah. And today happens to be a very
beautiful.
lovely day. Isn't it beautiful
It's
outside?
beautiful. I might do
Yeah.
it tomorrow. So the other thing I want to add is that I use crystals in gardening.
Do you?
Girl, yeah.
Tell us about that. That
They
is interesting to
earth,
me. I've
right?
not heard that. That's new.
Yeah, so when I have plants that are struggling, I put them in the pot. I put, depending on what the energy is I want to manifest. So if I want it to be more lush, I might put a piece of malachite, a piece of deep green. I have a collection of moss agate or tree agate, which the name in and of itself, right, suggests that it would manifest greatness. Crystal
Yes.
quartz, like using crystal quartz for any purpose, in terms of meditation, in terms of cleansing, you can use it in your garden in any way. So for abundance, for healing, and think, Kamiko, they come from the earth, right?
Yes.
They sit
Yes.
the earth. So you are putting them really back in their natural state. The trick
Yes.
is you got to remember where you put it, right? If you want to retrieve it when you pull up your plants. But I
Yes.
use them in my house plants. I have I have a house full of house plants, and
Yes, I do
if I have
know.
plants that's struggling, I put some crystals in it and
Yes.
I have plants that struggle. So
That is wow. And so have you seen, so when you have used your crystals in your plants, they have revived and rejuvenated your plants?
So, in all honesty, for most of the plants, yes. For some plants, by the time I get to it, they're too far gone for even Jesus to save them. But for many of them, I have seen a difference. And of course, it also comes with me speaking life into the plant, right? Because that is my space of meditation. In the morning, I go around my house and, just kind of tend to my plants, check them out, see what's going on. And so that's my
Mhm.
quiet space where I can connect with them.
So
Yeah.
given that so I'm curious about this, and I always say now that I have children who are adults, and then I'm still raising, I still have some at home, but how have you seen crystals show up and perhaps guide or inform parenting your children, and how you've used them in terms of healing, or any experiences that you can share around crystals and child rearing? Because I think moms, especially those that may have young children, and that's going to lead me into our thing, a little series we're working on. But I do want you to share about how crystals has informed you as a mom, and how now maybe even that your children are using crystals in their lives.
So I have two children. One is 23, my daughter Nzali, and I have a son, Menra, who is 21. And
Mhm.
so their lives, they've been around me making jewelry, right? They've seen crystals, although they may not have used them in the same way, they've been around and they've seen them. As
Mhm.
they have gotten older, I have encouraged them to use them to just kind of center themselves at times. If
Mhm.
they're feeling anxious about something in particular, like schoolwork would create anxiety sometimes for my daughter. So I would have her hold a piece of soda light and just breathe, and just envision herself calming down. My son, I have told him, if you're feeling, because sometimes our sons are challenged in terms of their reasoning ability, right? And so
I love how you frame language. I love how I just need to inhale those words for a minute. Say that one more time, please, for all of us listening.
it's extemporaneous. Sometimes sons are challenged in their reasoning ability.
Ooh, okay. Yeah,
And
yeah.
so my son, I've given him honey calcite to encourage him to think through the decisions. Calcite helps to ground us, right?
Mm,
And it
mhm,
helps us to just be able to know it when we tune in what decisions are right and which decisions need to be rethought or not happen.
mhm. So for someone who, before we go on, because I do want to share with people something that you and I are planning as well.
Mhm.
But for someone who's new to crystals, maybe want to learn more, where do they begin, right? Like, where do they start? There's, as we know, we're living in this age where there's just an overabundant amount of information.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's overwhelming. Part of these conversations is just to help people learn and discover new things, new people, new connections.
Mhm.
Maybe people can reach out to you. Where would you suggest that someone start?
So I'm glad. I'm just gonna get a book.
Yeah.
This is a really good book, The Crystal
Oh,
Bible. It is
yeah.
by Judy Hall. You can get it on Amazon. It
Mhm.
has so much information in it. It gives you crystals, it tells you where it's from, different uses for it. This
Mm,
is where I would start.
mhm,
I also would encourage people, whatever they gravitate towards, your spirit is saying, right? This is what I'm looking at. This may be what you need. When I'm would do shows in person, people would gravitate towards something, and as they started talking, it would be a crystal that could help them through that challenge, right?
mhm,
So your
mhm,
subconscious knows. You're always in tune, right? Even when we're moving around externally, our spirit always knows. The
mhm.
other thing is, on my Instagram, I am starting a series in February called Sundays Are for Self Care. So it's Self Care Sundays.
Mhm.
And I will post a crystal on Sundays with information about that crystal, how it can be used, in affirmation, and the chakras that it pertains to. And
Awesome.
also starting what is called the Crystal Clear Tribe, where it's a subscription service. So you'll get a crystal monthly with information about that crystal, and we'll go deep into that crystal.
Oh, this is wonderful. You are starting so many things. Okay, challenge in their reasoning ability. Don't you love that? Jerry commented, who eventually become husbands who never overcame that challenge. Oh my goodness. Okay,
Okay, we
Jerry,
go right there in the chat.
click on me that one
I like
right there.
Jerry's too. So
Yes, amen. You have such a wonderful way with words, Vina. I just love it.
I will say this, and this is a phrase that a very dear friend of mine said. Adults are big children and children are little adults.
Yeah,
And so we never really shift from that, right? Unless,
right.
I mean, sometimes my daughter will be like, these guys. And I'm like, girl, you're right. It's that challenge, but it's us who has the power. It is you who have the power to look
Yeah,
at it from a different perspective.
yeah.
And so when that happens, I would encourage whoever that is, write down all the things that you like about that person. Every you can think of. If you got to write the same thing 3, 4, 5 times, Just keep writing it. Shift that energy.
Amen. I love it. That is great, great advice. Okay, so I want to share
I had to do
because
it.
I love that you have so many wonderful new things that are being birthed through this pandemic, right? The pandemic has challenged everyone. And it has really, I think, for those, creatives have just, you shifted and just sort of flowed with it and reassessed and what they say, what is the word I'm looking for? Recolored, but also, you develop, like, it's like you taking your same skills, but you retool and then you create new, right? Because you may not have started these things. Who knows? You may have, but the things that you're doing now may or may not have begun had it not been for this pandemic. Because now we are directed and challenged to be new, to renew again, and to do things differently. So I love that you're leaning into that and bringing forth these additional offerings. That being said, I want those who are on listening to us or who may hear this after, that we are also leading a wonderful series that we are doing during the month of Black History, right? Beginning the week of February. And this too is going to be out on Eventbrite as well. It's, for Black moms and sons, Black mothers and sons, and honoring, right? The journey is no joke. We came up with that name because the journey, yes, is no joke. So if you are a Black mama with a son, or just, you understand, right? We have just different challenges around this whole child rearing, right? Different from raising our daughters, because we have daughters too. You and I both have a daughter, but parenting our daughters versus parenting our sons are very, very different during these particular times. So in that way, in that space, we have developed a 3-week series that we will be announcing and promoting and sharing. It is complimentary to those who want to participate, because we feel that the discussion is just that needed in our community. So we just want to let people know. And I know you will have the crystals out, right? Ready to help us to ground into that space and that series. So I'm very excited about that offering that we will be working on together. And once again, yet another way that we find to connect with each other that I don't know if we would have come up with this had it not been for this pandemic. So while the pandemic is challenging us as a people, as a country, as a world, it's taking lives. It's just causing so much. It's just wreaking havoc in so many ways. But we are doing our best to be our best, even through this very, very difficult time. So I'm very appreciative of you, my uncut gem, Mama V.
Thank you, Mama. Times
yeah.
5.
I'm a times 5, girl.
Yes.
And
yes.
Lord knows.
Yes. So we are again offering, look for the Eventbrite. The first session is My Story is Your Story. Your Story is My Story. The second one is Change is Gonna Come. And the third week will be, what do we entitle the third week, Kamika?
It is, oh my gosh. The third week escapes me, but that's where we're going to share and offer tools.
Change.
The path, yes, where we offer the tools to cope and way and solutions to move forward from whatever space that we are in as moms, right?
Yes. So it's limited. Space is limited. We'd like people to commit to the 3 weeks, because we know there are people that will want to come after it has started. But because we would have started that conversation, we just want to continue it with the same group of people. But would love for, if you know anyone with a son, anyone who may benefit from it, we're definitely asking you to participate if you'd like. Yeah, it's a safe space. We have some dynamic sisters who are going to share their stories, their hours.
And once again, just ways to connect with one another. Definitely, this is virtual, so it will be over Zoom. And it is our, yet again, another offering that I believe that we as healers and light workers and community builders and mamas are choosing to come together and be a force and a source of good change in this world. So yeah, I love it. So that being said, Mama, thank you so much for joining me, for taking time out of your day, for just, just being present and sharing all about you. For those who want to know more about crystals, please check out Ifiteo Artware, right?
Yes.
Yes, and you are on my page, so just in case you forget the name, people can check out my page. The post is there. Please check out Mama Vena, as she is known. Mama Vena is me. That is not her name, Mama Vena. Her name is Vena, okay? Right? That's what I call her. But, and Way Speeds and Wine, that is coming up March 21st from 1 to 4. Again, that event is on Eventbrite. And if you want to know more about crystals, please check out her page. And I love you said you're starting Crystal Clear. What's the tribe? The Crystal.
Yes.
Yes, the Crystal Clear tribe.
C cubed.
Look at you, Club Quarantine. CQ. I love it.
3, to the 3rd power, right?
That is so cool. I love it. Well, that said, my dear, we're going to close it out. Thank you so much, Vena, for joining me today. Continue to be the light that you are. I so appreciate you. And I look forward to seeing you soon. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Peace and blessings. Yeah.
Bye-bye. Thanks, everyone.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.